Hey everybody. This is about Kelly Marie Bryant. The Pontiac, Michigan mom that abandoned her children. This is her online account and social media. Look at what she is doing. She's saying that she only accepts men. So that tells you a little bit about what she's on. Not on her children, but what she's on, the activity she's into. And this is her mugshot. Mm-hmm. We all know what you're doing, Kelly. Right, but she didn't have time for the children that she left abandoned in the home. Ages 10, 8, and 7 then. This was around pandemic time in 2020. So she probably got that was inspired by that. The pandemic when they had to stay in. And she never ever let the kids know that it was time to come out. And she forgot all about them. She would send food by every now and then. And they were unkept. They didn't go to school for 5 years till they were found. And none of the family members knew. That's just strange, the things that be going on nowadays. And the family is unaware. The families are not close anymore. So, yeah, we're going to get off into this with Kelly Marie Bryant and the abandonment of the children.
Went in the location because it appeared to be uninhabitable, with piles of garbage and refuse several feet high, including large amounts of human excrement.
At the home, police say they found a 15-year-old boy and two girls, ages 12 and 13.
At the hospital, the children struggled with completing basic hygiene tasks like flushing a toilet and brushing their teeth because they had not done it in years. The children were forensically interviewed and described having virtually no physical contact with their mother, suspect Bryant, or the outside world in several years.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald says Bryant moved out of the home around 2020 or 2021, leaving three children at the location. When the food supply ran low, McDonald says the son would text Bryant and food would be delivered. Police say they were called to the home on Valentine's Day for a welfare check because of missed rent payments.
Morally, there is plenty of responsibility to go around for how this was allowed to happen. However, these three kids were entrusted to the care of their mother, Kelly Bryant, and the evidence suggests that she effectively abandoned them to a revolting pit of refuse and squalor. There must be consequences for those actions.
McDonald says the three children are staying with family right now. Coming up at 6, we're going to learn more about what those kids experience inside this home and how they are doing tonight.
Of the three children in Pontiac who had been basically abandoned in a home. I'll kind of give you a little bit of an update on where we are and more specifically where the kids are, how they're doing and the kinds of things we're asking for on behalf of the kids. So one of the first questions is that we've heard from a lot of people is where was the dad during this? So to back up a little bit, the father had been incarcerated for a period of time and had no contact with the kids. When he came out, he sought the opportunity to reunite with the kids and actually filed some legal papers in court to try to get visitation and those kinds of things. A consent agreement was arrived at in 2022, but the mother still would not allow him to see the kids. So that's what we've learned so far, at least preliminarily. We're going to go back and double check all these timelines and that kind of information. So he, in essence, had lost contact with the kids. And that's where that stood. So we've had questions about that. The other questions that we've had was who were the other people potentially dropping food at the house other than the mother. So far, again, the investigation is pretty layered and complex given that it's going over years. But it appears that those are companies like an Instacart or a DoorDash, things like that. So so far, none of the people that were coming to the house had any awareness that there were kids inside or the situation in which they were delivering to. Obviously, the question was somebody dropping food off knowing there's kids there? No information at this point leads us to believe that. The kids were forensically interviewed, with our partners at Care House. They've already been seen once at McLaren. We intend to have them at a much more detailed, both physical and mental health kind of checkup, if you will, that will happen hopefully this week. When our detectives saw them at their interview at Care House, they were already making amazing progress, having had some tender love, having had some supportive care, having been put in new clothing and some basic hygiene. The one detective said that the little girl was talking quite a bit, so that's super exciting to see that happening. And as it relates to being in the house, the only one of the three that ever came out was the young boy, and he came out twice. Once because he wanted to feel the grass, which by itself is heartbreaking, and a second time to check the mail. So you wouldn't do this to an animal, let alone your child. So, just to hear that he came out to touch the grass is just crushing, soul crushing on so many levels. As it relates to the house, we have obviously released pictures. I'll get my technical expert up. You've already seen some of these pictures.
$1 million for the woman accused of abandoning her children in a Pontiac home.
This is a story we've been following since Sunday when we first found out about the heartbreaking investigation.
Kelly Marie Bryant facing a judge today. The 34-year-old appearing via Zoom in Pontiac's 50th District Court. The judge calling Bryant a danger to the community.
She is accused of leaving her 15-year-old son and her 12 and 13-year-old daughters alone since March of 2020. The children were discovered living in horrendous conditions.
7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels listened in on that arraignment and is outside the home where that alleged abuse took place in Pontiac.
We have spent most of this afternoon outside of this home where 3 children were allegedly abandoned for nearly 5 years. We are told that they were living among mold, feces, and piles of trash up to 4 feet, 5 feet tall, some of which we just saw carried out a few moments ago.
Feces all over the place.
Soiled mattresses, moldy couches, dozens of pizza boxes, and trash, all being pulled out of this Pontiac home almost a week after 3 children were discovered living here. It is alleged that 34-year-old Kelly Marie Bryant abandoned 3 of her children here back in 2020. A boy and 2 girls, now 15, 13, and 12. Presumably 10, 8, and 7 at the time of their abandonment. They were finally found Friday during a wellness check for Bryant. According to the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, Bryant would drop off food periodically and threaten the children to never leave or answer the door. For nearly 5 years, we're told that they had no hygiene products. With the door and windows now open, you can smell the filth inside this home from the sidewalk.
I find her a continued danger to the children.
Bryant is now in jail facing 3 counts of first-degree child abuse. In court Thursday, she was given a $250 million cash bond. The judge saying that she doesn't believe anyone knows where Bryant herself was truly living at the time of this abuse, and that Bryant should have no contact with her own children or anyone under the age of 18.
I'm concerned that she still may have contact with a family member from the jail with instructions to continue to engage in the fear tactics to forbid the children from cooperating with authorities.
The sheriff has told us that Bryant's 3 children have received treatment from Care House in Pontiac this week. Care House is an incredible local nonprofit that provides treatment for children who are victims of abuse. Stay with us because coming up in an hour at 6, we are taking you inside Care House.